Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. Yeah, give it up for Lucasfilm Animation. I have a quick question. How many of you waited to watch the finale? Yeah! How many of you just couldn't wait? All right, okay. Was it better the second time? That's the right answer. That's awesome. Okay, great. My name is David W. Collins, and I was honored to be the supervising sound editor, designer, and mixer for Skywalker Sound on this series. As well as playing the role of Spybot in this show, and that's just incredible. Want to invite you to stick around. Please stick around. We've got a wonderful Q&A with some very special guests tonight. I want to start bringing them right up. We're just going to waste no time. Let's start with the head writer and executive producer, Matt Michnovetz. Matt, where are you? Where is he? This might take some time, so I'll keep going. Supervising director and executive producer, Brad Rau is here. The actor who portrays Maul, of course you know him, Sam Witwer is here. And we're thrilled to have with us Lucasfilm President, Chief Creative Officer, and Series Creator Dave Filoni is here. Welcome. Have a seat. So I wanted to start, first of all, welcome up, and I wanted to start just from the very beginning and ask you guys, take it back to the pitch of this show and the conversations, Dave, that you had with Matt and Brad about bringing us Maul Shadow Lord. What was sort of the impetus of the idea? How did it all start?
Well, we wanted to make a show people would watch, so we said, let's make a show about Darth Maul. I don't know. I mean, I've been at this a long time now, and, you know, we want to give people something great. And it's a lot harder than you'd think. 20 years of Star Wars stories, and what do you do? You know, George would say the hardest thing to work with is a blank page. And after Bad Batch, which I thought they did a great job with, we wanted to, you know, make it even better show. And how do you do that? And I think that what we attacked wasn't just the story, but it was, we wanted to attack the visuals, the art, the look, the style, the animation. Animation as a medium has progressed so much since 2005 when we started the Clone Wars. And really, I credit the industry and just all the talented people that have entered it in the years since I've been, you know, at Lucasfilm Animation. You see what people are accomplishing out there, even at home, students, the work. It's so inspiring that everybody here was challenged to come up with something truly great, you know, visually. Because for me, animation begins with the visuals. You know, it has to really connect with you. And I know Matty loves his metal music, and so I said I want this show to feel a little more ripped, a little more edgy, a little more like a painting, a little nastier.
A little metaler.
You know, a little more metal. I mean, it's about Maul. And I just always saw a responsibility to the character Maul because George asked us to bring him back to life. And that was particularly hard to do because he was cut in half. And but what we found, and you know, George always has such great instincts on character, was we made Maul a bit more dimension than just a weapon that fights with a lightsaber. We made him and showed that Sidious had taught him a lot of the philosophy of being a Sith Lord and what it means to tap into your power. And to me, a lot of Star Wars stories really work best when it's putting to young people the decisions between, you know, being selfish and being selfless, tapping into your anger quickly and doing the wrong thing and then cascading again and again and again because you can't admit you're wrong. The hardest thing, it seems, in life is to say you're sorry or to admit you're wrong or to apologize. And that is why the dark side tumbles you down, because you can't overcome those things. So they're very relatable, and that's why we've talked about Maul being a relatable character that way, because he's a person that can't get over it and not let go of things. So those are reasons why, like, And those are the initial discussions, and Matt, Brad, Athena, and I, and we got to point out Athena because she makes all that happen.
Athena Portillo. Where is she?
And I think we just sat down and started talking about it, and I just laid out kind of the throw of what I wanted this season to be about, and really, I wanted to express like Jedi going up against not him as a lightsaber fighter, but him as a philosophy, and how Jedi would be down on their luck in this time, and the hardest thing for a Padawan to do would be to stick to the teachings. So when Daki's saying you must rely on the kindness of strangers, that's critical, because he means it, and he can seem naive, and he can seem out of date, but he's right. But it's much harder to walk that path that he's walking, and so I wanted to express all those things, and the team just did it all beautifully. I watch it, and all I have is a sense of tremendous pride in the team and your efforts, so I'm grateful for that, gang. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
You know, I listened to you talk about the character building, the mythology, the good versus evil, all of the lessons that can be learned with these characters. That is a tremendous weight and pressure on this show to balance and get right. What were those discussions like when you initially approached the show? How did you end up saying, let's start on Janix, let's start with this story, let's start with Maul kind of really in the shadows, building all the way towards that incredible finale? Was it something that you knew instantly you wanted to do, or was it a lot of brainstorming to finally get there?
It was a lot of brainstorming. We're very lucky. I mean, we have an incredible team and amazing writers as well.
Are the writers here?
A lot of writers here. Yeah, we've got Andy Munez, Christopher Yost, Julia Cooperman, Jennifer Corbett couldn't make it tonight, and Nika Anastasia, and they're all fantastic. So we spent a lot of time in the writer's room, really brainstorming and figuring it out, and then kind of writing ourselves into corners and remembering what Star Wars is all about, which is everything that Dave just talked about.
Brad, I watched that fight from Chapter 9, yeah. And I just think to myself, how did you come up with this incredible set piece that tells this story? You know, this lake of acid, this river Styx almost, this incredible set piece with the story, with the barge getting across. And how do you guys work to keep the fight so character motivated and situationally so interesting?
That's a great question. Thank you very much, David. You know, it's the way Dave always taught us. He said, when we're making action, there has to be a story to the action. What's the story, Brad? Tell me the story. Tell me the story in the action. So, you know, I had a bunch of ideas, Maddie had a bunch of ideas, but really it's with our episodic directors and our story artists and our editors. We debate, we plan, we map things out, we figure out where everyone's going to go, and then we just constantly iterate using our previs tool to create a bunch of different scenarios, and then we edit like mad. This one was tough. There's a moment in the middle of the fight where everybody crosses sabers at exactly the same time. And that was thanks to one of our great story artists, Nakia Choi, working with Stu Lee, amazing director of the episode. And it's funny, we were in editorial and Athena said, Brad, can you hold on that a little longer? And I'm like, we got to keep the fight moving. Let's try like 6 more frames. And like, ooh, and that's what's on screen.
What would happen if you held it even longer? They would just start looking at each other.
I would get notes from Dave.
That would be amazing. Sam, what's it like coming back playing Maul in Maul's Shadow Lord? How does it feel to be back after working with Dave on both Clone Wars and Rebels? Had amazing episodes with Maul in it. That collaboration obviously yielded a lot of amazing episodes, and now we're continuing on. How does it feel?
Terrifying, but as I've learned from Dave, fear is the path to the dark side, so I suppose it helped my performance. Is that a good answer? Thank you. That's what I'm working on.
He's on brand.
It's the entire thing is the team. That's what it is for me. I have extraordinary support, you know, from these people on stage and the entirety of Lucasfilm Animation. You know, we mentioned Athena a couple times. I want to bring up that she's the general that took the order of, as Dave said, bring the level of every part of the division up. She had to figure out how to do that, and so she pushed all of us harder than we've ever been pushed, and she did it with a smile, and she did it with thank you and keep doing it, and when you have such a driven general, you can kind of do anything. People get inspired real quick. So I just wanted to say thank you, Athena, for that.
Thank you.
I brought you up, Sam. I also want to mention that our incredible voice cast, many of them are here tonight.
Yes.
You guys want to stand up? Who's here? Where's
Stand up.
I wanted to ask you, Dave, because I remember so well in Star Wars Rebels when Vader appeared. And I remember thinking at the time that was probably one of the most terrifying Vaders I had ever seen. You know, the way that he moved in that season, the way that he just kept coming after our heroes in Star Wars Rebels. I wanted to ask you about Vader and kind of the challenges to get that balance right in this particular era. You know, Vader was so terrifying in these episodes, don't you think? Yeah. You know, so what does Maul know? What has he figured out? How do we what's the psychology?
You were doing so well with the question I could answer, and then you went into a place where I won't.
Well, you have to,
so fast.
yeah, but I gotta try.
You were doing this one thing, and I'm like, come on.
Well, I got
Like
greedy.
20
I got
years,
greedy.
I'm not falling for that old hook.
All right.
Vader, the key to Vader for me is that, like, he's not Anakin. He doesn't recognize that. He can't. Anything that reminds him of Anakin, he's going to destroy. So when he sees a Jedi, he's going to destroy the Jedi, because the Jedi would remind him unconsciously or consciously that he betrayed all of his friends and everything he knew and the life he grew up with. For what? For nothing. He lost everything. He made a bad trade. He was lied to. He was deceived. He can't accept that truth. So he's even farther down the path than Maul. Maul is struggling to let go of hate, but Anakin got consumed by it. If he were to face what he did, it would destroy him more. You know, I find a lot of pity for him because of what he did and the depth of his treachery. And that's Darth Vader. Anakin's trapped in there somewhere, and Darth Vader won't let him surface. And so to me, the key is not to actually give him a character. He's devoid of it because he doesn't care. Darth Vader does not care. He does not have compassion. He does not see you. He sees the thing he wants to destroy, and he will do that. It's like the same feeling you got in Rogue One when he comes down the hallway. He doesn't talk to those guys. He's going to destroy them. He has one mission, and all of his remorse and all of his anger and all of his hate is in every swing that he does. It's like that's how it resolved when he saw Ahsoka. He wants to destroy her. She, of all people, would remind him of who he was. Yeah, I gotta destroy that. I can't face that. You know, and so like Obi-Wan, he wants to destroy that. So he is a destroyer, Darth Vader, and only, critically, only his son, only his offspring could make him spark, could make him see something. But at first, selfishly, you and I can rule the galaxy. That's where he goes. He doesn't come all the way back. It's a long process. So, and the reason for that is because this is George's character. This is the backbone of the whole thing. And you don't want to do anything that interrupts that or changes that or diverts that. And this doesn't do it, because this is the price you pay when you give into your anger, when you give into that terrible side of yourself. And it should terrify all of us, because we're all capable of that depth of terror. We're all capable of doing the wrong thing. Dockie's capable, you know, Devin's capable, Maul's very capable, but so is Lawson, Riley. They're all capable of doing terrible things. It's not something that's just for the Sith or the Jedi. And that's like, you know, Han, he can be more selfish. I'm only in it for money. Or by the end, I'm sorry. He chooses to care about somebody more than himself. These are the lessons that George is trying to teach us and wants to show us in these stories. And so that was the important thing to reflect. If you dare to put Vader in a story, you have to do it for the right reason and then show him the right way. So yeah, he's a powerful character. And studied the heck out of the animation, the movement, the physicality, and I think surpassed what we did in Rebels. I mean, and it's funny, it's a lot of the same team. Stu would have been there on Rebels, you know, and had to animate him the first time. So you want to always get better. And I think that's hopefully what the team has done here. They've gotten better and gave you a better Vader than we gave you before.
What you guys think? So I hear you talk about Vader, and it makes me think that you learn so many things about all the other characters by how they respond to that terror. And it makes me think so much about, again, the balance of how this fight went down, how people respond to it, when they go in for attack, when they retreat. Can you let us into the process of how this story unfolded in terms of the choreography, the balance between Daki and Maul? How do you even approach a story like that? It's got to be overwhelming at first.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not easy. And you'll notice the fight continues through this entire episode. It's something we talked about really early on. So even when we were scripting it, we were already planning. I was already talking to my episodic director, Nate Villanueva. Shout out to him. Nate, amazing director.
Nate.
And his team. And we were just, like Dave is saying, doing the research. One thing we wanted to do is really capture that Empire Strikes Back, David Prowse version of Vader. So even in design, he's a little bulkier, he's a little bigger, and it translates to this new style really, really well. But it was a lot of planning, a lot of mapping. And like I was saying, it can't just be fighting for fighting's sake, but what are they trying to do? They're trying to survive desperately for their very lives. And it's really interesting that Maul, we got Sam, and Haysbert is here today, Daki, oh my God. That these enemies are working together. We have a lot of moments like that in this battle, in this whole season, especially these last 2 episodes. So how does that work? And what are they trying to do? And ultimately, Sam's got to make this terrible decision that when everything comes into his hands at the end. And we don't make any of those decisions lightly. It was all very, very tough. The action, as hard as it is, wasn't as hard as some of the character endings that we knew we were going to do. And how are we going to do this in a satisfying way?
I was just going to add that, yeah, Vader is particularly just a force of nature that will affect all the characters in one way or another. It's their fate.
So
I think the sad thing is, just to reiterate, because we knock off a couple characters, like you plan it really early on. From like day 1, 2, we know that's going to happen. Because that structurally makes sense, see, for the story. But then you spend time and you write the character, design the character, look at that cool dinosaur guy. And you get a great actor to play the character, takes on another dimension, you're like, oh, that's really cool. And then he's working, the animation's looking great, and then months go by, and a whole long time, and then you get to the point you're like, oh no. We gotta bump this guy off. And it sucks. It really does. In case you're wondering, like, yeah, it was planned and we knew it, but it's like, you sit there and here we go with tech all over again.
No, Dave.
Yeah, still hurts, doesn't it? Yeah, I warned them. Yeah, but that's just
D's right there, Dave. D is right there.
You know, the clones I killed, D. You're good. There's always another clone the voice.
When did we ever follow orders?
You're right, D. There's always another one.
They're not numbers, they're men.
Yeah, I know. I sound like I know. Here we go. Rehashing old wounds. But it is tough. I mean, it's very tough. But it was important. But yeah, I always think people wonder, and like because in the beginning it's a concept that it's an outline, but then it becomes a real character, a real thing, and the loss is real, and it's tragic. It's meant to be tragic and well done. But yeah, we do think about it heavily. I think when you kill a character, you always have to have a reason, so people understand what's at stake, and people understand the consequences of it, especially kids watching. And so that's what I try to think. What are you taking home? Why are you doing that? Why would you say Darth Vader? You say, I'm your father. What are you doing? And so all of these things are thought out for an effect and a choice and a discussion, I think, which is a powerful thing about storytelling in the end, bringing people together to discuss things and hash things out, which is why I love telling stories. So, anyway, great
A
dinosaur.
lot of great dinosaur, a lot of great characters. Jockey, Brookcast, Spybot.
Sorry, David.
You know what?
Whoosh could you?
So I wanted to ask you about working on that final transformation for Devin and what it was like capturing that in the studio, working with Gideon, and just voicing. I mean, that is such an emotional, incredible moment, and I just have to say, this cast just kept bringing everything that they had to their vocal performance and more. You know, you can hear the physicality of it, you can hear the emotion. What was it like? Can you take us to recording that episode?
Oh my gosh. And Gideon is in the house.
Yes, she
Gideon,
is.
Superstar. Incredible. It was emotional. I'm sitting here. I've seen this episode literally hundreds of times, both of these episodes, and I was tearing up listening to everybody react. When we were in the booth, it was very emotional, and it was this beautiful, terrible thing that Witwer might have corrupted Gideon in the booth to pull her to the dark side.
I would never do that.
I think you did. And,
What?
No, go ahead. Go.
No. I was just going to deny. No, Gideon is extraordinary. The entire cast is extraordinary. And it has been such a pleasure to see these people come into Star Wars and bring so much into it. I mean, don't you feel that?
Oh my God.
Well,
Yeah.
I watch these guys in the recording studio, and I'm like, who wrote this stuff? And they just watch them go to town, and it's amazing. It's a quantum leap from the page to what actually comes up on screen.
Yeah, she's surprising, Gideon. She's wily. She'll surprise you. She surprised me. You know, what's interesting is I can't perform. You would think after 15 years or so I could perform the character, but no, I can't perform it without her. I can't do it. I don't know what am I responding? What is she going to throw at me? So yeah, and that goes for all of the actors on this show. They're so surprising and so spontaneous. And Brad does a great job of bringing that out in all of us. Just going, you know, work the scene, get the scene into shape, and then he goes, "But what if we just forget about it? What do you think? Just do it again." And then suddenly weird things are happening. You're like, "Great, that's it." You know, it's just Brad finds a way to push us out of our comfort zone, so we don't know what we're doing. Which Dave could tell you. I've spent 15 years not knowing what I'm doing, and and that's the whole trick. I mean, really, if these characters are responding, and you see these characters making choices, which is the whole thing, right? Drama is watching. What choice are they going to make? Even Maul, what choice is he going to make? Oh, you made that choice. Dave has taught us that these things have to be true. They have to ring true. They have to come from a true place. And so, yeah, this whole team does a great job of bringing the best out of everyone. It's lovely to work with them.
Yeah. On that note, anyone from the team from Lucasfilm Animation that's here tonight, please stand up and take a bow.
Animation.
Give yourself. Today as well, and congratulations to all of you on season 1, and thank you all for coming tonight. This has been an amazing experience. It's been wonderful to listen to this community react to this show and to watch all the amazing work on screen. So thank you very much. How are we doing on time? We're okay? Okay, we're good. Thank you very much. Dave Filoni, Sam Witwer, Brad Rau.